My name is Kathleen Bors-Koefoed. I was born Kathleen Marie Hubbell, and I married Sven Bors-Koefoed, so I have a difficult last name now. I grew up in Galveston. I was born in 1945. I lived at 1619 M&a-Half, and my grandparents lived right across the alley from us at 1624 Avenue N. We spent a lot of our time at grandmother and grandfather's house. My maternal grandmother grew up here. Her name was Alice Darney. She was 4 years old during the storm. This was written by my grandmother Alice, her youngest son Robert Hubbell, and he wrote this to us on August 26, 2000. The Great Tidal Wave of Galveston, September the 8th, 1900. 5 years old. The early morning of this day was dark and gloomy. After heavy rain and wind during the night of the 7th, storm warnings had been posted, but no one could anticipate the devastation this one carried. My parents were up early, well knowing we must seek safer shelter. Our home was well built, but the fast rising of the water was foreboding. Dad proceeded to chop holes in the floor of several rooms to my mother's dismay, but he stated it was a precaution to steady the house against the possibility of floating away, which proved to be true. But the force of the wind, estimated at 200 miles per hour, the wind gauge at the weather broke in the fury. Water was tearing into our home, and the water and debris were rushing in from the Gulf. Dad brought our carriage and horse to the front of our home, but the water was rising so fast he abandoned the idea and thought the horse alone the better plan. So I was the first to be bundled into a blanket, tied up, and Dad mounted the horse with me in tow, secured in a knotted blanket under his arm. We were going to the new schoolhouse just 1 block away. On the way, Dad said the horse was evidently struck by something, swayed in the high water, and lost the grip on me in the blanket, and down I went into the water. He grabbed, and luckily the blanket caught. No time to see how I fared, but I was given to friends at the schoolhouse as Dad rushed back to get Mom and my small brother to bring him to safety also, which we fortunately made. We sat wet and frightened in the hallway as the rooms were closed because the glass was breaking up. I cried myself to sleep. When the storm decreased enough, death and destruction were everywhere. Then came the awesome task of burying the dead. At first it was decided to tow barges to sea. This proved unsuccessful as they floated back to shore. So Father Kerwin said burning was the only solution. And then she stopped her story there, but my uncle continued a small portion later. He said, "I'm always grabbed by the emotion of this familiar experience. The great storm was so horrendous that it was the principal event in Galveston history. Your grandparents, Hubbell and Darney, lived the experience and had the drama drilled into them by the elders who survived it. Many of their friends and neighbors did not." To extend the story, I remember her telling me that after her father delivered her to the school, he returned home and ferried the second child, your great-uncle Patrick, to the school also. Then, of course, he returned again for his wife, your great-grandmother Clara. During one of those subsequent trips, the horse stepped in a hole, stumbled, and nearly went down. The horse survived, and the Darneys continued to live there, hopefully with a new floor. I think it's just so amazing what they did after the storm, the raising of the grade, the building of the seawall. All of that is just so amazing to me because, like I was telling you a few minutes ago, there was another bad storm, Carla, during the 60s, and the water was at the top of the seawall at that time. If that work had not been done, that storm probably would have covered the island also. So I'm very impressed with what was done in the past to save the island.
Since 1967, O'Donohoe Insurance Agency has been Galveston's trusted partner for your coverage needs. We tailor auto, home, and life insurance policies just for you. Protect what matters most with us. Visit O'DonohoeAgency.com for peace of mind.